Welcome to HubWeek 2019. We have two amazing leaders with us today who have spoken on the main stage, and we're here to find out what they've spoken about. What did you talk about today at HubWeek?
So our topic was future of life science and how technology is changing the pharmaceutical landscape, and it was a terrific conversation.
And what did you talk about today?
Well, so the topic was ethics in technology. So we had an incredible panel. Danielle Allen, who heads the Ethics Center at Harvard, and Rana El Kalubra, who is a technology expert and really active in the sort of ethics of AI sphere. So it was great for me because I get to throw all these questions at them, like, what about Facebook? What about this and that? And they're brilliant, and they handled it. And we were exploring what is in medicine, the Hippocratic Oath is first do no harm. What is it? What should it be for coders in that world? We know there are unintended consequences. Is it enough to shrug and say, oh well, or can we look around the corner and do something about it first?
What are you most excited about for the future?
I think we're living in a terrific time for biopharmaceutical innovation. There are so many different curative therapies that have come from the lab into the clinic all at the same time. Right? Think about cell therapy and the future of gene therapy, the different modalities that we have to cure diseases that were otherwise uncurable. The challenge has been for people who try to industrialize these technologies and get them to many, many patients. We've come from a world where drugs were produced for many patients for primary care to the ones where the therapies are completely targeted. And this requires us to collaborate across the life sciences sector. So as a tools provider, we're super excited about being able to develop the next generation of equipment, next generation of tools to be able to take these therapies to many, many more patients at a much more effective price and much faster. So I'm tremendously excited about it because so many different therapies have made it and have been so effective and made it into the clinic all at the same time that we need to put our energy together and get these to the patients.
And for you were just talking about the ethics of what's happening. What are you most worried about for the future?
Well, I worry that we don't take the ethics part of this seriously enough. Technology is great, and it gives us all these opportunities, and we Americans tend to default in favor of the benefits that a technology gives us, and we sweep aside the negative aspects. Maybe that's less true in Europe. I worry that we've given big technology companies too much of a green light in some of these areas. So if you look at Facebook, we're not happy with the fake news. We're not happy with the weaponization of fake news. It's sort of too late. It's hard to track that back. So I worry that we prefer convenience to such an extent that we just go helter-skelter down a path, and then it's too late to actually correct.
You don't have that problem in your industry. You're very well regulated.
Yes and no. I think there has been a lot of discussion on ethics of gene editing. We are a leading innovator in that area. We not only have some foundational patents in the area of CRISPR-Cas9, but we also apply it in development of new cells, in development of new tools, and for production of viral vectors for cell and gene therapy. So it is really clear and present in our industry. And I would say the ethical discussion, and I was following your panel, I was here for part of it, the ethical discussion requires us to manage a paradox. And the paradox is that you leave researchers and technologists to do as much research as they can and to discover new technologies. They need the freedom to do so, and they need the tools to do so. But when it comes to societal applications, one has to manage the other end of the paradox and put some boundaries around it. So for instance, we don't condone use of gene editing for germline modification, right? And which would have drastic impact. And I heard you talking about it as well. That is something that you have to regulate, and we're very serious about it in our company. We have a bioethics panel where we have ethicists who come and give us binding views on what we can and cannot do with our technologies. And so I think it is possible to regulate, it is possible to come up with the tools, but one has to manage the paradox of letting technology develop unfettered while creating a frame around applications that is relevant for that particular domain. And I think a similar idea could be used in technology. I understand there are different systems evolving in different parts of the world on that front.
It also was clear to me in that discussion that some of these issues that trouble us as citizens, they aren't necessarily ethical. They're more kind of political and societal. What kind of a world do we want to have? And it just makes me think, and really you were getting onto this, that tech companies need ethicists, but they need social scientists, they need political scientists. I mean, it really, there's an outsized power that the most successful companies have, and that's fine. That's the American way or the global way. But there are responsibilities that come with that, and it seems to me they're beyond pure ethics. They really are political questions.
Yeah, and then I think it's a balance between the collective and the individual benefit, right? You want the individual to benefit, and that benefit has to somehow be subservient to the collective benefit. I think that's what you're really talking about. The society should not have to pay a price for our need to make companies great, right? They should be self-consistent with each other, and I think it's a challenge that has existed forever. It is just now somehow in an area where it is new to us.
We were having this conversation yesterday. We had Congresswoman Catherine Clark on stage, and we were talking about how can technology companies and science companies look at government as a partner. And I think that what you're talking about, these sort of regulations, it's borderless. And I think that's one of these areas where we're coming into challenges, that these technology and the science are global. And so can there be this sort of universal standard? You're bringing these ethicists to help, but can there be a global standard that people adhere to?
I think this is a very, very difficult question to address, because we know that different countries are adopting different principles and are at different stages of developing those principles, right? So, for instance, in data privacy, Europe already has a GDPR rule. China has its own point of view, and the United States is now starting to develop a point of view. And different countries are on different stages of evolution and have a fundamentally different set of assumptions on what society wants. And I think that we have to debate it. We have to discuss it. Frankly, it's a difficult problem. It's not one where I would expect a universal solution, but I would hope that we can come up with a solution that allows industry and technology to continue to develop, and we don't create constraints that are so different from each other that you cannot create a universal value.
In Europe, one company is uncompetitive, or companies in one country are uncompetitive. And it's really great to hear that your company is really leading the way and sort of creating its own ethical standards. How are you addressing this with the Harvard Business Review? How are you tackling these issues?
Well, so I assume you mean kind of privacy issues and data. I mean, data is the lifeblood of our industry and most industries. We try to use it and not abuse it. Yep. We want to enhance your experience. So if you're reading something or enjoying something that we're doing, we try to connect with you and understand who you are and what learning path you're on. And at a simple level, feed you the next thing that if you read that, you'll like this, kind of a simple recommendation engine. But we think we can do a lot more than that, and a more sophisticated connection with all of our users to kind of say, yeah, we get you, and we kind of know where you are and where you want to be, so we're going to help you do that. Now, some people might find that creepy. I mean, that's the thing. Personalization can seem wonderful or it can seem creepy, and I think that's all in the design and letting people opt in or out.
Yeah, and I think it's a terrific point, right? I mean, data has a value. It's a question of what we do with it again. I'm amazed at the power that we have to connect communities. I mean, the biggest challenge in science is collaboration. How do we create collaborative frameworks where different competent people can come together and have a debate? And you have it online. Everyone is coming online together. Can we not have debates on meaningful problems together? I mean, you have the world's best scientists who can engage with each other, with data, with facts, all looking at the same substance. I mean, that's terrific. It gives me goosebumps when I talk about it.
That's so techno-utopian.
Indeed.
I'm being told I have to go, but I have one last question. You're both interesting. You're both leading somewhat older. Your company is
51 years old.
And 51 years old. You're running a traditional media organization.
Almost 100 years old.
Almost 100 years old. And you're both leading the way and innovating. You're the envy of all media companies with the success that you've had and how you've continued to find new audiences and connect. And you're leading the way, not only in terms of the breakthrough and your growth, but just in how you've been really connecting with your communities as well. How do you have this energy of these new of this entrepreneurial energy within your old established companies?
It's what gets us out of bed in the morning. I mean, it's exciting to try to figure out the new platforms and the new approaches. I mean, honestly, what I think gets people out of bed in the morning is the fact that we respect our readers. I mean, there was a period where we were doing slightly clickbaity stuff that was almost a little embarrassing, and we just said no and sort of put the bar back up where it should be, and this wonderful thing happened. Traffic increased, engagement increased, subscription increased. We were sort of respecting our readers and delivering to them. And if you have that kind of engagement with readers, it inspires you to like, okay, so how do we do more? This is such a gift. So how do we build on that and create new products and new content that people will really love?
And for me, it's simple. I have the best job in the world. If I had to design a job when I was growing up as an engineer, I wouldn't be able to design it better, right? So as an engineer, I'm working with some of the best people around the world, solving some of the most meaningful problems that will shape healthcare in the future. And I get to learn every single day. I mean, so I don't have a better solution than this in designing a job for myself. So I'm super happy with what I do. And I don't think I can tell you more than that.
That's great. Well, thank you both. Thank you both for being here at Hub Week and really choosing to be part of the community here in Boston and showing how the future is being built here at the intersection of art, science, and technology. You're two great leaders here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Udit.